Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
All right, I'm Mark McDougall, and he is Craig Miller. Dressed as are you going hunting today, Craig?
Nope. But
you got your hunter's orange on.
I knew, I was saying when I put this shirt on, that I was going to be questioned about the color of my shirt. There would be a topic
I know it is
conversation.
orange.
This is an orange polo.
Or is that orange?
Polo style, not polo brand, but it is orange, and it is a polo style shirt. Everybody needs to go to YouTube, type in Life as You Own It, check out the most recent episode, so you can watch
what Craig is wearing. All right, so folks, if you're checking us out for the first time, we appreciate you tuning in. If you're a regular listener, well, welcome back. We hope that you have enough fun that you will check us out again next weekend. And remember, you can always find us on YouTube. You can go to, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Demand if you're catching us there, or driving through a city and your local station does not have Life as You Own It. Call them. Say, we heard these really handsome fellas on the radio that gave us some great information about the largest investment that we've made in our lives, the roof over our head, whether you're a renter, an owner, an employee, an employer, breathing, not breathing. Okay, maybe if you're not breathing, you're probably not going to be listening. But
some people actually stop breathing when they listen. So
they do. They hold their breath. You want to check out the show because we try to give you all kinds of relevant information to your financial life with an emphasis on your home. Yes.
Happy Independence Day that just passed, folks.
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed your Independence Day. I always say Independence Day. I'm picky about that. Happy 4th. Whatever, people say that. I'm sorry, but I pick on you when you say that stuff because it's Independence Day. Anyway, I hope it was a good one. Hope you didn't burn yourself with a sparkler or any of those dangerous fireworks.
Yep.
And everybody,
did you have a good?
Oh,
did you have a good Independence Day of July? I don't want to just mess it up for
you. It's just Independence Day. That's all it is. It's real simple. Anyway, it was great.
But we have to clarify because there are Independence Days for other countries also. There might even be state Independence Days.
You were with me. You know how good it was.
Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff, folks.
Okay.
And we didn't blow anything up.
Nope.
All right, folks, so today's show, we've got a lot of great information for you to include 7 things home buyers love, but sellers don't list. Sellers, these are some features that your home buyers might want to know about, and we think they will help you sell your home faster and for more money, potentially. Also, 7 curb appeal mistakes if you're selling your home that you want to avoid. And we're going to talk about, are you saving for a rainy day? Are you, Craig? Saving for a rainy day?
Hoping it just doesn't rain because I haven't been saving for a rainy day lately.
Well, folks, you'd be surprised at how many of you may be saving and how many of you are in the naughty box and are not saving a sufficient amount for your retirement or for your rainy day. Also, we've got 5 financial corners that you should never cut. And finally, we're going to wrap up with a little bit of some update on bank-owned properties. Guess what, folks? You know what those are. They're foreclosures. The bank lent you the money. For whatever reason, you could not repay, and after going through the legal process, they took the home back. Well, the number of those properties that are, or the price at which those properties are selling for might surprise you on a comparative basis to those homes that are not bank-owned. Craig, you've also got interest rates. We've got the should you stay or should you go segments, which are my personal favorite. Because you've got 3 seconds to answer yes or no, and then in 3 minutes you usually do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I do that on purpose to
kind of the opposite
every
of
week,
things
and it works every time without fail. 60% of the time. So,
Exactly. So, folks,
that's what's good about it.
let's give you a reminder. Craig, how should they reach out to us if they have a question?
What you should do, folks, is real simple. You pick up that mobile phone, that cell phone, because we know you don't usually have a landline anymore. Some of our listeners still do. But you should pick up the phone and dial 1-800-270-6425. That's 800-270-6425. Call us anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And someone can take your call, get us the information on your question. We'll either air it on the show or we'll respond back to you with an answer, and we'll air it on the show. You can also email us questions or question, whether you want to go plural or singular. It's questions at lifeasyouownit.com. Questions. Questions at lifeasyouownit.com. Check out our website, lifeasyouownit.com, of course. Go to YouTube, as I mentioned earlier, and as Mark mentioned. You might have some fun watching the videos. Sometimes, like right now, I do some funny faces, try to entertain you a little bit. All right, let's talk about rates.
Okay, let's do it.
Every week, we bring you these national averages. Again, these are a simple general guideline. They're not set in stone. This isn't the exact rate you should expect. Every scenario is slightly different. But that national average that we share with you is based upon a $200,000 loan amount, excellent credit scores, 20% or more equity in the home. Some variances are going to be possible for most of you. You can have a smaller loan amount, maybe a much larger loan amount, poor credit, mediocre credit, etc. So that can affect the type of quote you get. Also, the fees and costs have a major bearing on what you're going to be quoted rate-wise. Some lenders, in some regions of this country, in fact, some areas, there's some entire states and general municipalities where we find that it's common practice for lenders to quote a refinance and in purchases as well with a point or two built into the pricing, that it's just common. People are used to paying points. Folks, there's better ways to do it oftentimes regardless of what the norm, quote-unquote, is in your area, and you need to investigate that. But fees and points do play a part. In fact, we believe they're as important as the interest rate itself. We know they are because of simple math. It takes time to save money if you refinance your home, no matter how much you've lowered the rate. If you paid tons of fees and costs rolled into the loan, guess what happens? It's going to take a long time to break even on that monthly interest savings until you've recouped. What do we suggest that you do about that? Go to lifeasyouownit.com, check out the break-even formula calculation that I've put together for you so that you can do the math. You can compare option A to option B. Does this one make sense, or does this one make more sense depending on fees and costs? We recommend you compare a zero-cost option where the lender pays all the fees, they do not roll it into your loan, to one where maybe you have some costs and fees and the rate may vary slightly, where you get a lower rate if you pay some fees, slightly higher rate perhaps if you don't, but oftentimes the slightly higher rate without the fees is the better deal for you. You've got to have mathematical reasons for doing what you're doing. As we always say, if you cannot explain this to someone else, what you're doing, if you can't go to your friend or coworker at the water cooler or your neighbor and explain why you did the loan you did, why you took the rate that you took and the term that you chose and all that stuff, if you can't succinctly explain it to someone else, then you have no business signing the paperwork yourself. You need to be educated about what you're doing and making a sound decision beforehand. We always recommend you work with a certified mortgage planner. Certified mortgage planners typically have a higher level of expertise when it comes to setting up an actual plan and asking the right questions to make sure that they've qualified you based on your needs. All right, so here's the rates, folks. Here they are. 30-year fixed, averaging 4.18 over this past week. That's versus 4.2 of the week before, so we saw a slight improvement. 15-year, 3.23 versus 3.25. Again, minor improvement there. 5-year ARMs, where the rate's fixed for 5 years, then it can go into an adjustment period based on a 30-year amortization. Those are 3.70 versus 3.55, which, by the way, we've been seeing these ARM rates slowly but surely creeping up. In fact, anymore, they're not so far off from a fixed-rate loan that they're going to make a whole lot of sense for most people. FHA 30-year fixed, 3.76 versus 3.85. Pretty good improvement there on FHA 30-year fixed. Remember, it's not just all about rate, folks. Watch the fees and costs, even comparing conventional to FHA. FHA has a lower rate, but a ton more fees. Wouldn't be in your best interest to take an FHA loan just because the rate's lower. What does that music mean?
All right,
Mark?
folks, it's should you stay or should you go? You give us your question. We will give you an answer. It will be quick. If I give it, Craig, it'll be potentially in the roundabout fashion. Rates. Andrea from Belmont University in Nashville writes, "Hello, I'm graduating from college this year and already have a contract at a great company. My father bought an investment property when I was born and is now signing it over to me when I get my diploma. It is mine to do with what I wish, and it has no mortgage. It's worth about $140,000 presently. $140,000 presently. My question is, should I sell this property and buy my first house right away, or hold the property and save up more money for a down payment? I want to take advantage of low rates and great home prices. Sit tight for now or sell and buy a home. Wow, Andrea. So congratulations on your college graduation and you receiving such a fantastic and generous gift. Whenever we come back, we're going to tell you what Andrea should do. Stay tuned to Life as You Own It.
All right, friends, we are back. Life as You Own It, coming at you right here with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller. That's me. We had the Should You Stay or Should You Go? I hope everybody that listens to the show regularly, if you haven't checked out the YouTube videos, my heart's beating really fast right now on the video. Okay. Anyways, what we want you guys to do is check out these videos because they are goofy. You wouldn't know it by just listening. You're thinking we're just talking. We're sitting here kind of in our monotone radio voices, bringing you soothing sounds of financial advice. But in reality, we're doing all kinds of weird things on the camera. All right. So before the break, Mark, we had Andrea from Belmont University in Nashville. She was giving little props to her. Yeah, maybe she lives there. So I mean, on the university campus.
Shout out to Belmont. Okay, so she's graduated from college this year, already has a job lined up, and her father gave her a property she thinks is worth $140,000. She's wanting to know, should she sell it and buy her first home, or should she keep it a little bit longer?
I'm going to say sit tight, as she put it, sit tight or sell and buy. I say she sits tight and holds on to that investment property. A couple reasons why. You could certainly do what you said, sell that thing off. You get $140,000 in cash. You can take that and pay some taxes on it, first of all, because it is an investment property. Your father's going to be signing that over to you. You're going to have a short-term, you're going to have just regular taxes on that thing. It's not even going to be a long-term capital gain because you're going to be flipping it quickly. A lot of tax consequences in that decision. Also, just starting a new job, I'm sure you're going to be ultra successful. You're super smart. You went to a good school, all that good stuff. But guess what? You aren't ready for what's coming in life just 100% yet. You're going to be experiencing the new job and getting used to where you're living and all the other kind of things that may be happening. And I think getting more adjusted, looking at your other parts of your financial plan, let that rental property keep working for you. Keep it on your balance sheet for a full year so that if you do decide to sell it, you'll pay long-term capital gains tax versus on the gain versus regular earned income tax. And then take an approach there. If you build up your reserves, at least 6 months worth of your expenses, your expected expenses, we recommend even longer, maybe 9 months to a year's worth. Save some down payment, and then go buy that house. I wouldn't worry too much about missing out on something versus taking on this huge tax consequence. That's the big one I see.
Yeah, and I see the opportunity cost. Andrea didn't say her age, but if and when she sells it, let's diversify. Let's get some of that money in real estate, and let's get some of that money in the market working for you. What do I mean? Whenever you put a down payment on a home, you're investing in real estate. And real estate has a historic rate of return of around 3%, so it's right in line with 2 to 3%, in line with inflation. Well, the S&P is going to give you a rate of return of approximately, we're going to say it's between the 8+% range. So diversification, 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 and don't miss out on the opportunity to get a higher rate of return than you would if you just put all your money into that home purchase. All right,
right on.
Good one, Craig.
7 things home buyers love that sellers don't talk about in their listings.
7
Mark.
things. All right, we're going to go with number 1 is storage. Obviously, we never think it's an important thing. If you got lots of storage, whether it's your basement, wherever it is, you make sure that's a key part of it because people like to accumulate junk, don't they, Craig?
They sure do.
And also is going to be if you've got systems that help organize stuff, whether it's your cabinet systems, whatever it may be. If you've got some unique, again, people like to collect all that stuff. Even more importantly, do you have organization systems built into your home that would make it a unique selling feature of it? Also, proximity. What are some of the cool things near your house? If you're in a market that's got like a shopping district or close to great restaurants, or if it's definitely, we know the no-brainers, if it's close to schools and it's a good school, then you say close to XYZ school. Be specific, but give some cool details. And if there's some unique stuff, maybe it's parks, maybe there's things, walking distance to beautiful park, whatever it may be, put it in there. Also, if there are any features that would make it friendly to our largest purchasing population, the baby boomers, if there's any senior-friendly features, whether it's one story, whether it's got an elevator or whatever it may be that makes it friendly for the older set. Next one, Craig, you want to go?
Energy efficiency. A lot of times
No-brainer.
people will talk about all the cool amenities and leave out the fact that maybe you've done some major green upgrades. So you've got energy efficient appliances, maybe you've got energy efficient windows, new insulation, things of that nature. You made an investment in those things for yourself because you knew they were important, and so will the potential buyer. They'll think the same. The potential buyer will want that stuff.
Yep. Also, green, any we'll call light green features that you may have, which obviously if the house isn't going to be wholly green, unless you're going to build it from scratch, but there are things, whether you compost, whether you, not that that's necessarily something you want to advertise, but any of the things that you
Best
do in your
compost
house.
pile in the neighborhood.
Yeah, whether it's the systems that your house is on that are more energy efficient, whatever it is you've done to make it more energy efficient and or more green. And then lastly, Craig, is what?
Natural or chemical-free and hypoallergenic home maintenance items. So if you've upgraded to a hypoallergenic HVAC system, you've got other chemical-free features, maybe it's type of carpeting, other types of things in your home, even the construction materials themselves, there's differences in the chemicals used to produce like plywood or particle board and things like that. Some people are very in tune to those things and are looking for those features, so don't overlook mentioning those.
All right, hey Craig, are you saving for a rainy day?
You know, in some ways I am, some ways I'm not. I typically just kind of get cozy on the couch on a rainy day and don't go spend money.
Well, thanks to our friends at Bankrate, they did a financial survey index, security index for June, and found that about a quarter, we'll say 26% of consumers don't have an emergency cash reserve. Nearly a quarter don't have enough savings to cover 3 months of expenses. These percentages have not budged much since 2011 when Bankrate began asking consumers about their emergency savings. So folks, we tell you, if you're listening to the show, then obviously you have some desire to be able to get ahead of the game or stay ahead. Save as much money as you can on whatever it is you're investing in. Be a smart consumer. It starts with just spending less money and saving more money. Not having a 3-month emergency fund, we tell you should have at least 6 months in the bank at all times. 12 months is optimal. So it is unfortunate that most of your peers, actually 50%, have less than 3 months. So just over 25% have none, and then another 25% have less than 3 months. Another 17% have 3 to 5 months, and 23% have enough to cover 6 or more months' expenses, and then there's 9% that didn't know or refused to answer the question. So, folks, as you can see, more than almost 2/3 of you have less than 6 months, less than 5 months' expenses in cash reserve. So that's why we're here, folks.
It's a big deal, and you know, before we get into should you stay or should you go, I'll just add to that. You know what? If you don't have it as part of one of your financial goals, you know, a lot of people have financial goals. They say, well, I'm going to contribute to my 401k, I want to do this, I want to do that. If it's not on the list right now and you're lacking that, it needs to be number one. Move it up to the top of the list. Get the emergency funds thing as the first thing you accomplish before you tackle the rest of your financial goals, New Year's resolutions, or whatever else that you use as your means of motivating yourself to get it done. Should you stay or should you go? Who's up?
All right, Craig.
Which one of our wonderful listeners is up?
Okay, we have Elise in Seattle, Washington, emailed the following. My husband and I have very close friends who are interested in buying a home just as we are. The home prices in our area seem a little out of reach for what we think would be a good investment. Our friends discuss buying a big home with us and sharing the home and expenses. There are homes in our area that would fit our needs and be a great long-term investment for us. What do you guys think?
Well,
That's the first time we've got that.
if stay is don't do it and go is do it, boy, this is a tough one to answer because I don't know the rest of the backstory. I'm going to say stay by not investing with another person in another home, but I don't know the basis of the relationship. I don't know how. I mean, this is common in some areas where real estate prices are super high. I know in California, In a lot of areas, there are people with 2 or even 3 families that live in one dwelling.
You know what? It used to happen in the old days. We didn't all need 4,000 square feet for 4 people.
Right.
And I'm going to say, as long as contractually you've done the paperwork so you know what's going to happen if and when you guys decide to part ways, because you're not married. Just the same reasons we tell you, don't purchase a home with someone you're not married to, unless by law in that state you're married, without having a very specific plan and contract written in the event you guys part ways. Same thing. If you're going to live with another group, do it. Save the money. And write a contract so you know exactly legally what's going to happen if you guys part ways. Life as you own it, back in a few.
Closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Are you covering this one? You skipped it, so I didn't know if you were doing it.
I just didn't want to go 7, so I just bounced.
Sure. Okay. I didn't know if you were going to do it or not.
A little freestyle.
Free.
That's free falling.
Styling. So you didn't like that? You didn't like the idea of moving in?
Oh no, I would not.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
I mean, if they're
I don't
comfortable,
want to live with anybody else.
Well, see, that's the thing is I can't answer for their
I
situation.
would
It
not
sounds like
want-
they're already comfortable with it, or wouldn't even be an idea that they
I would
have.
not want another
say
family.
go.
living with
Just
us.
write the contract. It's like go do it. If you want to just make sure you know each other well, write out. I'd say
Everybody's on the same
write
page.
out the rules of engagement and write the contract.
I think it's hard to live
You
with
know, I
people
kind of think
without
those
them
look a little
annoying.
better on me.
They do probably
Oh, oh,
What do you think,
Lord.
Rosa?
Hey, do that with your shirt.
I'm doing my
or your
Jim
pics.
McMahon impression.
There you go.
This is my Jim McMahon radio guy deal. Except Jim McMahon didn't have any pecs.
Can you do that?
Jim McMahon was kind of
Mark
heckless.
says I
could, I
don't want to.
All right. Let's go. Next segment.
Let's do
Into
it.
the 7-minute ones. Stand by. We're rolling.
All right. All right, we're back, folks. Mark McDougall, Craig Miller, and hey, I want to offer up Craig's services. Not mine.
Offer
Craig's.
them up.
Offer them up. If you are, it doesn't matter where you are, because we've got listeners all the way from Alaska to Montana to Florida to, we've had people that are, Rosa, don't give me that funny look.
I didn't. I had something in my eye.
Satellite radio, iPod. They're watching right now. If you're checking us out for the first time, we're going to make sure to remind you, you can go and you can watch the, you can go to YouTube. Just type in there, Life as You Own It. Not that it's that much more dramatic, because really we're just kind of standing here. I'm talking with my hands. Craig's flexing. But that's pretty much what we do during a typical show. But what I want to make sure you know is that we're your resource. If you call us at 800-270-6425, you can ask for Craig Miller and say, you know what, I need some advice. Whether you're considering a purchase, a refinance, whatever it is, please give us a call. Ask Craig. I mean, he's the one that does the heavy lifting every day. And the heavy lifting is with paperwork. I do the heavy lifting in the gym. But he is a great resource, and we encourage you to use and abuse him. And if you want to call to complain about Craig or anything advice-wise he gives you, you can call me.
else.
You can call me. Call me for that. Or if you want to say, wow, Mark, you were fantastic on the show this last weekend, you know, I'll take those calls. And candidly, we want your feedback. If you've got suggestions or ideas of how we can make this a better show, more meaningful to you, your friends, and your family, by all means, give us the scoop.
Punch it in your phone right now and hit save.
Yep.
Save to contacts.
800-270-6425.
And it doesn't matter what state you live in, all 50 states, we can get you the advice you need. We can get you taken care of even on an actual loan itself if you want someone to save you the most money.
Yeah, Craig
Reach
Craig
out.
might even just to determine that you can, it makes sense for you to do a transaction, and you may get the rock star Craig himself handling it.
You never know.
All right,
I'll
so
autograph a T-shirt for you. Not my T-shirt. Not a Life as You Own It T-shirt. Maybe a Cubs jersey. Maybe a
maybe.
Royals or Tigers or wherever you like. Okay, go.
Okay, so 7 curb appeal mistakes. All right, folks. So we know it's a seller's market right now. In most of the markets that are listening, most of our listening audience, you're in a market where you're going, gosh, I want to buy a house, I just can't find one. And maybe some of you are going, I want to buy a house. I just can't find one at the price it was 2 years ago. Well, that's a good thing for all of us, that housing is not at the same price it was 2 years ago, because that means our economy is on the right path, and it also means that there is demand for housing, and you that were thinking 2 years ago, you might be a renter for the next 5 years, are now going, I want to buy a house, because it's going up in value. So here are some things that those of you that are looking to sell your house, don't just assume, because you've heard it's a seller's market, that you can't get top dollar by taking a few steps to really ensure that you are putting on your best face. So here are 7 curb appeal mistakes you need to avoid. Number 1 is what, Craig?
Cluttered driveway. You know who you are with that jacked up Camaro sitting in the driveway, or
You know what? That's vintage.
you've got some
It's a
old
vintage 84 Camaro.
milk crates and hubcap collection and whatever else you've got cluttered up in your driveway. But seriously, guys, a car parked in the driveway tells people, just even a car parked there, even if it's your daily driven car, it's saying, hey, the house isn't big enough to store everything, so you put the overflow in the garage and park your vehicle outside. It's just not one of those, it's a distraction. Get the car out of the driveway and any other clutter, sports stuff, kids' bikes, whatever. Clean it up, make it look good when people pull up and you leave for that showing.
All right, someone goes in the house, or I'm sorry, someone is driving by the house. What they also don't want to see is your trikes, your bikes, your lawn ornaments, your yard art, all of those things. Keep as little there as possible. It doesn't matter what it is. Clean up the yard to put its best face forward. Also, the garden. Pull the dead stuff out. If you got dead stuff, it's better to have nothing there than dead shrubs, dead bushes, etc. Also, now it's kind of hard to do this, but if you've got some, what if you've got some neighbors who who don't mow their yard? What would you suggest, Craig? If you got a neighbor, because how can I do anything about that? My neighbor's yard is making my yard look bad. Or maybe it's making my yard look good, but the person that's driving my house is going, I don't want to live next to that yard.
It's worth a try, folks. Be polite, be professional about it. Explain to them, hey, look, it reminds me of that Richard Pryor movie, Moving, years ago from the 80s, or I don't know if you ever saw that, but his neighbor was, who's his neighbor? Quaid or somebody. Who was his neighbor? Anyways, whatever, that played it. Randy Quaid, wasn't it? I don't know. Anyways, he was just this terrible neighbor, never mowed his yard, an idiot. You don't want that guy next to you, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it other than ask politely, can you please let me mow your yard maybe, or help you with a few things to help my house not look so crappy.
It's worth a shot, folks. Also, you've got anything that they drive by that is where they can see there's neglect on the front end, whether it's you've got the porch steps, or some of them are broken or crumbling. You've got awnings that are tattered and hanging. Take them off, remove them, do the minor work you need to do so that again, that first impression isn't one of neglect.
If you hang your clothes out to dry in the front yard, or your pantyhose on the front porch rail or whatever, just stop. All right.
Paint colors on the front door or anything. Go for something neutral. You can put a bright color on there, but just make sure if you're getting anything really crazy or anything. And also, that's a great way. Your front door, put a little splash of color if you want. Just make sure it's something that is a splash of color, not a splash of vomit. Just touch up that paint. That door can give a little bit of pop to your house. And then finally is what's the last one? Let's see. Oh, upkeep on your, let's say it's your garden or your landscape. We've kind of touched on that. But again, whether it's a garden in the back, whatever it is, if you've got an area there that you've neglected and you're not taking care of, etc., just either get rid of it, fill it in with seed, do something, but make sure it doesn't look like a project that someone's going to have to take on once they move in, because it just doesn't look good. All right. What timing?
We're coming back shortly, Mark.
What are we going to talk about when we come back?
5 financial corners you should never cut. Don't cut these corners, folks. Find out what they are when we get back. Biggest nighttime power drains on your home. We're going to share those with you as well. And a few other little pieces of commentary. Life as you own it. Back in a few. All right, folks, we are back. Life as you own it. Let's own it. Let's own some more good information for you to put to use. Be empowered and save some bucks. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Craig.
Everybody wants to buy those bank-owned properties. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a bank-owned property because that's going to save me some wood on that next house purchase over buying one from an individual. Is that true? What do we find out about that?
All right. Well, according to Realty Track, surprise, bank-owned properties actually sell for more. Well, let's get down into the numbers. Bank-owned properties overall went for an average of 3% above market value, while bank-owned properties that were built, these are bank-owned properties built after 1950, while bank-owned properties built prior to 1950 brought 6% more than the rest of the group. The largest premium was paid for properties that had negative equity but were neither in foreclosure or foreclosed. Now, folks, that would be when, I say bank-owned. Bank-owned can be whenever you just turn the keys over to the house. You made, it's called deed in lieu. It's looked at by creditors much in the same fashion as foreclosure. However, it is not the same legal process, which can save them some money, which if you're not upside down on the house or they sell it, you may be able to negotiate getting out of that relatively unscathed credit-wise. Right, Craig?
That's correct.
All right. So bottom line is it's not sure that's interesting news. We go, wow, I can't believe that. It's primarily because the number of properties that are bank-owned and likely the ones that are actually selling now that they're not still sitting on, just so happen to be selling at a slightly higher premium than other homes in that same control group.
Yeah, banks are in a little bit better shape financially now than they were a couple years ago. There's not enough properties to go around for most buyers in generally good markets. And you've got a situation where you typically, when you have an individual seller, there's something else they've already looked at buying, or they're already contracted to buy something else, or they're desperately wanting to buy something else in the limited inventory that they're looking at, so they're generally more motivated to sell than a bank who knows in this market they can get a sale. I think those are the contributing factors. Shouldn't be a huge surprise, but there you have it. All right, Mark, what's that sound once again? Should you stay, Mark, or should you go?
That is, should you stay or should you go, folks? You know the routine, and if you don't, you're going to learn it real quickly. Give us your situation. We'll tell you what you should do really quickly. Roger in Trimble, Kentucky, called with the following. I have a $72,000 balance on my home at 5.25%. I think my home is worth about $150,000. I need to do some updates to my home. So should I refinance and take some cash out, or take out a second mortgage?
Refi, that's going to be go to that refinance transaction. We'll give it that as a go versus staying with the mortgage you have. You're going to want to go. Depending on credit, Roger, you should be able to do a couple of things. Accomplish refinancing at a lower rate, getting that cash out that you need, and try to do that without a bunch of closing costs or fees. I'd recommend not knowing how much money you want, borrowing whatever it is cash out wise up to the limit that you're allowed, 80% if you need that much. Do so on a mortgage that fits into your not only your budget, but your financial plan. You need to have a financial plan that has to all line up. Watch those fees and costs, but you should be able to drop that rate even without incurring any fees or costs or anything being rolled in the loan. The lender should be able to provide you a zero-cost refinance and save you some money.
Roger that.
Roger, Roger. Okay, Mark, what else? What else?
Okay, we've got five. Here are 5 financial corners you should never cut. Folks, we talk about these each and every weekend on the show at varying degrees. We may focus on one week, one another week. Maybe we skip a couple weeks, but really on most of these, we're touching on them on a regular basis. And one of them is insurance. While we want to make sure that you shop around and get the best deal on your insurance, part of the best deal is making sure you have the appropriate coverage. In fact, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the importance of going around with that cell phone, snapping photos of your important items in the event you live in an area that might potentially be a part of a natural disaster. We hope that doesn't happen to you, but be prepared. This weekend, walk around, snap as much of your stuff of value that you can, email it to yourself. In the event that unforeseen tragedy strikes, at least you've got a foot in the right direction as it relates to negotiating with your insurance company. And you'd be amazed. You don't want to forget anything. Also, don't cut corners on medical care. Poor or deferred medical care is like gambling with your life. As you can imagine, we only get one, as you know, we only get one opportunity. We only get one shell here that we're given to live out this life. And do not cut corners on your health care. Don't skip the annual exams. And take care of yourself. And Craig, also, that includes going to the dentist.
Okay, I'll try to remember to do that.
Sorry. Another area is what, Craig?
Credit card bills, folks, this is the lesson that I think most people learn fairly early on in life. They usually learn it the hard way. But you go out and you get that credit card while you're in college, right out of college. I think I got offered my first credit card at 18 years old, a department store card or something like that. And of course, I immediately bought a pair of jeans or something that I thought were going to be cool. And I remember not doing a good job of remembering that I was going to get a bill for those. I'm not sure. But anyway, since that lesson learned, I've maintained my perfect credit. For you to maintain really good credit, you got to watch the due date to make sure you pay on time. You can get fees or negative impacts on your credit, as well as, of course, crazy interest charges. Try to pay that credit card off every month. What I always say is, I use credit cards for everything because you get rewards, but you need to make sure you can pay your balance off each month. If you can't purchase the item and pay it off with cash at that moment, then don't put it on a credit card because you will probably rack up a balance.
Hey, another quick one on insurance and medical care goes is one and the same as maybe some of you put away money through your insurance plan at work that allows you to use those funds by a certain date. Don't let that money go unused. It goes to your employer. You have a certain timeline. You got to use it by. Number 4 is retirement savings. You know the drill here, folks. Start saving now. It's never too late. And then 5 is out of the box when your mattress.
Your mattress.
Get a great bed to sleep on. It will add joy to your life.
True.
You'll walk straighter and all those other good things.
About 30 to 40 cents a
associated with
day
walking
is the
straighter.
difference between a great mattress and a really crappy one. Not
Right.
a lot of money.
Life's doing it. Back in a few.
All right, folks, we're back. Life as You Own It, wrapping up the final segment. Remember, if you've just tuned in to Life as You Own It for the first time this weekend, well, it's time to do it again next weekend. Mark your calendar to remind you to tune in, or better yet, subscribe to the podcast. Go to iTunes, check it out. Also, you can always get on Facebook, Twitter, all that. Follow us on there. Go to YouTube, watch the videos. You can watch the archived videos on YouTube. Watch multiple episodes. Spend your entire Saturday. Don't go out and mow the lawn. Don't do anything fun or fruitful. Just sit on the couch with your little iPad or computer or whatever and watch Life as You Own It episodes over and over and over. Please call us. If you've got questions, we'll give you the answer. If you've got a scenario question, you've got a situation you're in, and you just want to know, hey, what would these guys do? Here's the phone number, 800-270-6425. Put it in your phone, write it on your refrigerator with a permanent marker. If you have like a white refrigerator, leave it on there forever for the next people that live in your house included. 800-270-6425, but mark that down because someday you're going to be in the middle of a transaction. You're going to want to know, what would these guys tell me to do? All right, Mark, if we have time, I'm going to try to give a little breakdown for our folks that are maybe 10, 15 years away from retirement, thinking about having that house paid off before then, whether or not that may or may not be a good idea. But
Well, let's
tell
do
us-
that.
Talk about some power drain.
Biggest power drain. That's
Okay,
nothing. Talk about this.
Let's talk about this.
Yep.
It's common. It's a more common counseling session that I find myself in these days than ever before. I've got folks in the 40, 45, 50-year-old and older range who are saying, hey, my goal is to have a paid-off home by the time I retire at 65, for example. Folks, let's just say you're 50 years old. You've got 15 years left on your mortgage, and you're thinking, how can I have my house paid off? Or what's it going to be like? What's the relief factor going to be when my home is paid off? Or let's just say you're someone who's 50, 55, 60, 65. You have the money to pay off your remaining mortgage balance right now, and you're ready to do it because you are retiring, and you don't want to write that check anymore for that big old mortgage payment. Well, folks, I want you to think about something. We're going to use a $150,000 mortgage balance for our example. So here you are, whether you're 50 with 15 years to go or you're 65 and you're ready to write the check today. You think having that house paid off is going to be the gateway to freedom out of all this heavy-duty debt. You're going to have so much more cash to work with and live off of and take vacations to visit your grandkids with and so on. Well, here's how it really works. If you've got 15 years left on a balance of about $150,000, you've got about an $1,100 principal and interest payment. On a $150,000 mortgage, we don't know what your house is worth. Just to say, national average-wise, your home is worth in the $200,000 or so range. You've probably got real estate taxes in the $3,000 a year range. Your insurance is probably about $1,200 a year. So your mortgage payment may be a total of $1,450 a month. $1,450 would be a pretty common total principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment. You're thinking to yourself, man, if I didn't have that mortgage payment to write that $1,500 out every month, I'd be in good shape. Well, here's what's happening. when you write that check and you pay off that mortgage, or you finally get that thing paid off and you retire, you're still going to be paying the majority of that payment. No, you won't be writing a check to a mortgage lender every month, but you're going to write that check to the county tax assessor for your real estate taxes. You're going to write that check to your insurance company because you're still going to keep your home insured. And you're no longer going to be contributing to principal anymore on that payment. You're not going to be paying the interest, but you're also not going to be contributing to principal, which is just moving money away when you write that check from your checking account into your home equity savings account. So a $150,000 mortgage and a 15-year term left over, of that $1,100 principal and interest payment, folks, $600 of that's principal and about $500 is interest. If you're still itemizing your tax return, you're probably getting anywhere from $100 a month, maybe even more, back in your tax deduction on that mortgage interest. So from that $1,500 mortgage payment, $1,450, $1,460 range, something like that, about $400, maybe $350 in a lot of cases, is what you will actually net in savings every month. When it's all said and done, the house is paid off. The rest of it was either money you're paying to yourself in the form of a principal payment or to county taxes and insurance. So when it's all said and done, don't count on that paid off house being the difference between a comfortable retirement and not. Have your retirement plan set up to whether you pay your house off or not. You're set. And you may want to arbitrage that $150,000 because I bet you could earn more than $400 a month on it.
Fantastic information, Craig. And you know what? Next weekend, we will go over mortgage planning, why it can help you or how it can help you really set the sails on your financial boat. Or in your case, financial ship.
Yeah, big ship.
All right, folks. Life as you own it. Thanks for hanging out with us. And remember to
Stay classy.